I really hope you enjoyed this video I've made about the history of the middle hair part and waves. I've remastered the audio, and if you do enjoy this, be sure to sign up for my newsletter. It's completely free, helenavery.substack.com. Enjoy. Today we're going to dig into some contemporary hair history, something that has been kind of on my mind, which is why do so many women have this exact hairstyle? Not just right now, but for a long time. And as you can see right now, I've kind of even done my hair a little bit in the same style, which is middle part, soft waves. How come we've been wearing this for ages now? Listen, the first time this sort of fell into my radar was when I stumbled upon this Vox article, and I will put the link down below in the description box in case you want to dig into it for yourselves. And I was thinking to myself, now when was it that I first saw that? Was it? Pretty sure it was pre-pandemic. No, it's from 2016. So have a look at Gina Rodriguez in that video there. And here's another picture of her with pretty much the same hairstyle, although she's got a different hair shade. When do you think this photo was taken? Let me tell you, that was taken just a little while ago. This is a contemporary photo. So the hairstyle itself has not changed that much. And if you're a fan of, say, The Bachelor, you have seen this hairstyle on every bachelorette like ever. And on. It is just so pervasive. How did it become one of the most popular hairstyles going? Let's get into it. You could not avoid seeing this hairstyle even if you wanted to. The other day, I did a quick look on YouTube for actually just a texturing tool, a hairstyling tool, and every single YouTuber had this hairstyle. Okay, maybe not every single one, but I'm going to say 8 out of 10 had the exact same hairstyle. If you go to Dry Bar, which is a huge blow dry bar chain, they have not one, not two, but 3 hairstyles on offer that you can choose from their blow dry menu that pretty much look the same, look like this. I did a lot of research, a lot of deep digging, and I've come up with these results, and it's kind of interesting. This is a newer look for women. For the longest time, women did not wear their hair down. That was very much a look for young girls. Married women, women who have sort of come of age, semi-adulthood, whatever you want to call it, have made their debut in society, wore their hair up. They didn't wear it down. And if you go even further back and sort of to the medieval and early medieval era, they would have covered their hair completely as a sign of modesty. But as we progress, especially with the era of Elizabeth I, hair is out. So you can see women's hair, it's out. Might be jeweled and stuff like that, but generally is not worn down. Are we to say no one ever wore their hair down? No, I'm not saying that, but just generally when you look at our history and illustrations from the past, illustrated manuscripts, women had their hair up, sometimes covered, sometimes not. Now, as we advance sort of through time, there are some times in history where women wore, at least I'm talking about modern Western history, which is my specialty, women did wear their hair down. In the 1600s, there was a bit of a phase of wearing your hair down, but even then it was sort of a half-up style. And then in the 1800s, again, there would be sort of curls falling down in the back. Again, more of a half-up, half-down style. Completely loose and free, not really a thing. Ancient Greece, women wore their hair curled, also sort of pinned up styles. Ancient Rome as well. So this is there's a very, very long history of women wearing their hair pinned up. It is really only recent times where it's come down. Even in the sort of time period where we sort of shifted from Edwardian looks to a sort of more 1920s sort of flapper silhouette. And that happened in a pretty small, but sort of gradual time frame, but pretty compressed. I mean, if you look at a 20-year difference, hair changed enormously. But even then, there wasn't actually a switch to hair completely being down. It kind of just went from pinned up hair or low chignons into a bob or a shingle haircut, as they used to call it. There was no sort of long wavy hair. That didn't happen for a while. So as far as I can tell, you definitely had the 40s where women wore their hair a bit longer. Veronica Lake, in my mind, was the first person who had a lot of longer-ish hair of a longer length out and waved. Even that was slightly different than the hairstyle we see now, because that was, I think, a pretty deep side part. And let's talk about parts now for a hot second, now that we've landed on that. Typically, in the past, a center part has been a woman's, the way women have parted their hair, and a side part or a deep side part was sort of the way men traditionally parted their hair. That started to change in the 1900s. If we think about, early images of Queen Elizabeth, she had a really deep side part that sort of was kind of very 30s looking for the side for women. But until then, it had mostly been middle parts. So again, to place this in historical context, this is a hairstyle very much associated with young girls. And I thought, let's look at Alice in Wonderland, not the original illustrations, but rather the Disney version from the 1950s. Let's see if her hair looks like this And it's been a while since I've looked at any sort of imagery from Alice in Wonderland. All I can remember is the very beautiful blue dress that she wears and that her hair is quite bouncy in it, but I couldn't remember if there are waves. Alas, there are not. I shouldn't say alas, but there are not. She does have a center part though, and she does have quite a bit of volume in the front. She's got a headband on, and her hair is kind of, it doesn't look waved, it just looks like its own texture, which is pretty straight with a little bit of a bend in it. So this hairstyle does not really necessarily come from Alice in Wonderland, but I think that has informed what we're seeing now. The plot thickens. I started to look around thinking that I don't think that in 2016, 2015, this hairstyle just erupted out of nowhere. There probably is some sort of cultural touch point, somebody who we could look at who probably did have this hair first. Maybe it was an actress. So I started to go down that rabbit hole and I started to look at the top actresses who were sort of leading ladies in 2014 in Hollywood, which as we know is a huge disseminator of cultural values, beauty values. And I looked at Anne Hathaway. Nope, she had a bob back then. I looked at Emma Stone. You know, that was not really her look so much then. It was actually Julia Roberts. Okay, so in 2014, Julia Roberts had this hairstyle. And I started looking back. I'm like, what about 2013? What about 2012? I have done the research. She was wearing this hairstyle back until about 2007-ish. And at that point, she had the sort of side swept bangs and a sort of a ponytail in more images that we see of her. But very much after that point, so the late 2000s and I guess 8 maybe-ish era, she switched to this hairstyle and she's pretty much been wearing it ever since. And I think that infiltrated our culture. But I thought, could that just be it? Is it really Julia Roberts? Because she's still a huge name. We all know, Pretty Woman herself. What else is it? And I thought, this image is so familiar to me and I can't quite put my finger on it. And I just marinated on that for a little bit until I figured it out. So get ready for it. It is actually Jesus. Yes. A lot of the imagery we associate with Jesus is this look. It is a middle part. It is these soft waves, and you see this imagery everywhere. And you see Jesus with the long hair and the middle part and the waves in other iconography as well, not just that of the West. It is just a very, very prevalent image. I thought, is this modern because is this something recent? Is this been for a long time that Jesus has been presented this way? No. I went back and I read some work of people that work in the field of Christology. I found this very old image, which I'm going to put up here. This is a mural painting of Jesus from the late 4th century. That is a very, very long time ago. And if you have a kind of closer look, he's got the middle part and the waves. So this is a very, very old hairstyle, right? Yes, more associated with men, but it's not entirely surprising that women who wear long hair nowadays, more than men do, although men do as well, have this kind of hair. And if you see a guy with sort of brownish hair, which is not necessarily the hair color that Jesus had, I'm just saying, I'm sure you know that, a lot of reconstructions and thought have been put into his appearance, and sort of the blue-eyed with the light brown hair is not necessarily historically accurate, even though that is what we come to think about because we live in the West and that's what paintings and images have shown us. But yes, the waves, the middle part is what we associate with Jesus, and it has been that way for a very long time. And I thought, is that why this image is that why we feel so comfortable with this hairstyle? Is it just like the ultimate comfort image, right? Maybe that is why we're still wearing our hair like this. Don't understand why now we still wear our hair like that. I'm just showing you some images, what has happened in the past, and possibly what is culturally informed, what is going on in the present. Is that why we love this hairstyle so much? I do not know the answer to that. If you have a theory, please let me know down below. That is just from the research that I've done. This is a very, very old hairstyle, but it's still going strong. It really doesn't show any signs of abating, which is super interesting. It's been a long time now. 6 years in hair, as you guys know, is a very, very long time. Actually, no, 2016. Let's say it started in 2015, 2016. This article picked up on it. So that's 5, 6 going on 7 years. That's a lifetime in hair. That's nearly that's closer to a decade than anything else, right? So still going strong. I think that when people look back at photos from this era, they will definitely associate it with this hairstyle just because it's so readily associated with our time frame right now. But where are we going? I feel like we haven't done updos in a long time. We haven't done anything with height in a long time. And I feel like we're going to cycle back to that. Of course, not being someone who necessarily forecasts trends, but everything old tends to come around again. So I feel like something more structured is in our near future. Maybe it's even like bob. We did go that way for a little bit. If you remember, there was definitely a phase with these sort of razor sharp lined blunt cut bob. That's sort of not really a thing so much anymore, although you do see it on some women. Still looks cute. I guess we'll see. I would love to make this video again in like a couple years time and see what happened with this trend and just revisit it. But I just thought from a historical aspect, it would be really interesting to see the different things that informed this hairstyle that is just so popular. So, oh, that was fun. Thanks so much for watching along with me here, and we will catch you on the next video.